from the News Channel 5 Network and Urban League of Middle Tennessee. This is Urban League Live.
Welcome to the first episode of Urban League Live. I'm Clifton Harris, President and CEO of the Urban League of Middle Tennessee, and I'm excited to be your host. I hope you know about the Urban League, but if not, that's okay. We're here to tell you about why we do the things that we do. First and foremost, we work hard every day to champion economic dignity for all, but particularly for the underrepresented and the underserved. How do we do that? Through programs and initiatives that help us defend democracy, demand diversity, and defeat poverty. I'm here today to hear more about it. I want you to join me in welcoming our guest today, Belinda Burks, Chair of the Board of Directors from the Urban League, and Janet Kinchelow-Martin, our Vice President and Funds Development and Marketing and Civic Engagement person. So, welcome ladies to the first episode of Urban League Live.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you all here. We thought, that today we would just have a casual conversation about the Urban League. Okay, is that okay?
Sure.
Great.
So let's jump right in. From your perspective, let's talk about the Urban League's work and our mission. Janet, why don't you kick us off?
Since I'm the marketing person, I should know that, right?
Yeah,
It was
that's
my
right.
elevator pitch.
That's right.
Well, I think it has to do with, first of all, people understanding what we do and what we do for the community. I will first ask people, do you know what Urban League is? And some people will say no, some people will say I think so. So then I'll say, well, do you know what the NAACP does? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, we don't do that.
That's good.
What we do is we target some of the same individuals. However, our sphere of influence and impact is a lot larger, I think, than NAACP. But what we do is we focus on workforce and economic development, because we feel like if an individual is able to take care of themselves and their families and make a livable wage, then all the other things that we do under that umbrella can fall into place, like housing, like transportation, like child care, health care. And so, as you said in the opening, we're all about giving people economic dignity. We want them to feel comfortable and feel like they're part of the community.
That's right. So we work off of 4 tenets, right? We believe that every child should have access to education. We believe that everyone should have access to housing and economic development. And we also believe that everyone should have access to health care. And finally, we believe that everyone should have access to civil rights. What does that mean in you all's perspective, from you all's perspective, of making sure that people have access to those things?
I think they're just basic rights that the Urban League has. For years and years, the mission has been to protect those basic rights. And I think that, for my perspective, the Urban League was introduced to me as a child. They had a youth program that I was a part of.
Really?
And it was an education program where on Saturdays we would go and learn. It was, for us, we didn't know how the impact that it was really having, but because it was a social thing, our friends were there. But we were learning and connecting and getting opportunities for learning job skills even early. I remember we made wind chimes to sell.
Wow.
So, I mean, those are the kinds of impacts that the Urban League has had for years, and I think I'm grateful that they're still a viable organization.
So we had to have an Urban League Live for me to find that out. I had no idea about that about you. That's pretty cool.
John Fair actually was over the Urban League when we were kids, and that was just a place that the neighborhood kids could get together on Saturdays.
So Belinda, as a business person, you own multiple businesses. And, programming like the Urban League is important for economic development and workforce development, specifically workforce development. What does that mean to you as a business person for the Urban League to be in the space of workforce development?
Well, as a business person, it's interesting because one of the things, talking to other business owners, that I find sometimes they say, we can't find qualified minorities. We can't find the people to sit in the chairs for us. And what the Urban League has done is it is the connector. It has opened doors for young people to learn the services, to learn the skills, and also for business owners to come and say, hey, where are the minorities in the community that have these skills? So for me as a business owner, I see the Urban League as being really vital in continuing to bridge that gap and to make that connection.
Yeah, so they say, like you said, they say that all the time, and we have to go into that education mode that there are people out here waiting, right? So, Janet, let's talk a little bit about partnerships and the importance of working with other businesses and organizations and other nonprofits. Why are partnerships like for the Urban League so important?
Well, because as Belinda was just saying, from the employer standpoint, we have employers that come to us all the time saying they can't find qualified candidates. And we prove them wrong because we send them.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. We prove them wrong every time.
Because not only do we send them qualified individuals that have the skill set, but we also send them individuals who have those soft skills, because we hear about that all the time. I can't get people, even though they know how to do the job, they won't show up on time. They won't, work within a team. They won't put their cell phone away. Those kind of basic things that, as we were growing up, we knew better.
Right.
But those are things that people sometimes have to be taught.
And we teach them
And
all
we
that.
teach them. And so when they show up on the employer's doorstep, they're ready to go.
Ready to go.
All they need is for you to let them sign that piece of paper and put them to work. They're ready to go.
So if they're early, they're on time. They're on time, they're late.
There
we
you
teach
go.
that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so back to the partnership, we can't do what we do in a
1 minute.
vacuum.
Go ahead.
We can't do what we do in a vacuum, which is so critical to what we do, because not only do we have employers that are partners with us, but we have other nonprofits. For instance, well, I won't name any because then as my dad used to say, I'll leave somebody out.
Yeah.
But we work with just about every nonprofit in this community and across this region, because we are a 9-county region that we serve. We may be located here in Nashville, our corporate office, but we serve 9 counties. And so I think it's important for people to understand that we don't just partner with companies that are located in Davidson County. We partner with companies all across the region.
Right.
Belinda's business is in Sumner County. Davidson County. But you live in a different county, and I live in a different county. So I'm just saying, we aren't just in Nashville. And so partnerships are very important to us, not just because of what we do as far as putting employees to work, but also investing in us. Because when I first came, what word did I say we weren't going to use?
Fundraising.
Exactly. We use investment because we want individuals, companies, organizations, families that come to us with their resources to feel like they're making an investment in not just us, but in their community.
Good. Thank you. So we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more on the Urban League Live. Welcome back to Urban League Live. So, Janet, Belinda, before we get into the different types of programming that or the type of topics that we're going to talk about on this show, I got a few more questions now. So, Belinda, as the board chair and a board member of the Urban League of Middle Tennessee, has your perspective of the Urban League changed? And if so, why?
I think it's always interesting when you get on the inside of an organization instead of kind of going to events and seeing what they do on the outside. For me, I've always enjoyed the events, but becoming involved in the work, I think has really changed my perspective and really engaged me a lot in how much work we need to do.
It's a lot of work to be done.
It's a lot of work to be done.
We're doing a lot, but it's a lot left to be done.
It is. I've been very impressed with the leadership, the staff in attacking the work, but in even deciding what work needs to be addressed. The housing issue in Middle Tennessee is a big issue, especially in Nashville. And some of the things that the Urban League has done to engage the creators of the housing as well as to address the gap in housing
Yep.
is something that on the inside as a board member, I don't think I would have gotten that exposure, and I don't think I would have increased my passion for what we can do about that gap.
Yeah.
It seems like nobody's really as focused on the work as the Urban League, and I don't think I would have learned that unless I became a board member.
Yeah. And the gap has to be dealt with from two perspectives. One from a housing perspective of generating housing, but then the other side of the same coin is workforce, right? Because without the income, it's hard to get the housing. And right now, the cost of housing is through the roof.
Right.
And so, Janet, that's a good segue into, so what kind of partnerships are we looking for? Are we looking for one and done? Are we looking for an investment and all into the future?
Yes. We're looking for people who want to be with us for the long haul. The ones and dones are fun, but I think we've grown past the point where we have to rely on the ones and dones.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point when we were fledgling, we were struggling, but we've come so far in just a very short period of time. And so far so quickly that people that never really looked at us are now looking at us saying, wait a minute, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so, investment is just that. If you're going to invest in something, you want to be in it for the long haul.
That investment has grown us from two part-time staff members and 2 full-time staff members to over 26 staff members now.
Exactly.
Working on multiple issues.
And like Belinda was saying, there's so much work that still needs to be done in this community, in this region. We have done so much in the last couple of years, but I think the more we do, the more we dig in, the more we see that there continues to be need out there. And I think the more that we are out in the community, people that need us know that we're there now.
So are we about numbers or are we about people?
We're about people. You say that all the time. Our greatest resource is our people. You say it so much so that I think I called to your attention the other day that someone has started to steal your tagline.
You're right.
But it's really more than a tagline. We really mean that. I said something the other day about one of our workforce development specialists, how much time that individual spent digging in to what the person that he was talking to needed, because everybody who comes to us with a different need. Their need may be work,
Yes.
their need may be housing, but everybody's story is different, and how they come to us is different.
And everybody wants that level of dignity.
Exactly.
Right? And so as a result of that, we're not only empowering communities, but we're literally changing lives.
We are, and we are changing lives for the long haul. And I know I've used that word a lot, but that's what it's all about. You said the proverb, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. And that's what we're all about.
We're teaching people and all how to fish.
Exactly.
Right? Become fishing. We're fishermen of men. I love that. I love that.
I think too, the impact. I think another word that comes to mind is just what an impact the Urban League is making and can continue to make. I think as we do the work, we kind of see that we can make the ripple a wave and kind of a wave a tide.
Absolutely.
So it's fun to watch. I hope more people get involved. And I know that's what we're talking about too.
Yeah, I'm reminded of one of our programs, our leadership program for our youth. We took a group of young men to the top of Bridgestone. And this one young man said, this is a beautiful view of my city. I've never seen my city from this perspective. But he also talked about the fact in the same breath that he couldn't see himself working there because he didn't see anybody that looked like him. And they brought out leaders in Bridgestone that looked like him. And now this young man found out now that, he wants to go into marketing, and that Bridgestone has rubber tree farms in other countries. And he was really impressed at the fact and all that Bridgestone did photo shoots with Tiger Woods and all that stuff. So changing trajectory and all of people's thinking and all is great. So Janet, what kind of programming Well, what kind of topics are we going to get to talk about on Urban League Live?
All of those and more. But one of the things we want to do is, again, we want to talk about the things that people maybe hear a little bit about, but we want to dig in. You know, we're going to talk about housing and the lack thereof. We're going to talk about health care. We're going to talk about opportunities that are around this community for people who are entrepreneurs and small business owners to raise their business up to the next level. That's one of our programs that we offer. We're going to talk about leadership and youth, because that is a big piece of what we do. You're talking about the example of the young man. We every summer have a wonderful group of young men. Belinda and I have been touched by that personally. Her son Miles has gone through. My grandson Landon is going through. And it makes a lot of difference in those young men, and just to see them progress through that program. You know, we are now giving out scholarships. We had a scholarship fund, and that's kind of my baby, you know.
Yes.
We had a scholarship fund, but there were any resources.
But that college scholarship fund is kind of unique too.
Yes.
In that it is to help students stay in school, right? Not just go to school, but stay in school. No student should have to drop out of school because of financial reasons, you know, right?
And we've been able to start out with a little bit of money, and now people are beginning to sit up and take notice, and so we're beginning to get more resources in that fund.
People are investing in that
fund.
fund.
They really are, but they're not just investing in that fund, they're investing in the future of this community and of this country.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I hear that we're going to expand that program to girls this time, right?
The Leadership Academy,
Yeah,
yes, we've been talking about that for a couple of years.
We've been talking about that for a couple of years now.
Yes, that's on our list of things to do. So hopefully in 2025, we will have young ladies in our Leadership Academy.
So we're also going to talk about public safety, right? We're going to talk about transportation. It's a hot topic right now. But we're not just going to talk about the problems. We're going to find solutions. We'll talk about the solutions. And we're going to bring the people in that are the subject matter experts in each of these areas.
Exactly.
So I'm excited.
But I think the bringing people in gets back to what we were saying earlier about partnerships.
Right.
Because again, we do a lot of good work, but we can't do it by ourselves.
Yeah. So you heard it here. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back with Urban League Live. Welcome back to Urban League Live. Janet, Belinda, I'm so excited now to have you out here with us today.
It's been good. It's been fun.
So Janet, tell us about some of the upcoming events that's going to happen at the Urban League.
Well, one that's right around the corner is our 2024 annual meeting.
State of Address. State
of Address. So that will be a time when people will be able to hear about all the wonderful things that have happened in the past year. We'll also acknowledge our board members who have been on board, like Belinda. We have some new board members that are coming on board, so we will.
And we're going to swear them in.
We will officially swear them
in.
We
with a
swear
judge.
them in with
a
real judge. With a real judge. And then what I love about our events is that there's always lots of time for networking. And it's almost like a family reunion every time we have an event, because people will see one another they haven't seen in 6 months, or they could have seen them the other day, but they get a chance to go and mix and mingle. And one of the things I love about our events, and I don't know how you do it, but you do it because we have pictures to show it. You get around to every table and visit with everybody in the room.
I put my roller skates on and somebody pushed me and I'm off and going.
But I think the thing about our events is that they're special because people feel like they're a part of the event. And so our annual meeting, like I said, will be October 24th. It will be at Nissan Stadium again for the 3rd year at the Wesley Mortgage Club. So there's plenty of parking because it will be during the day. It's on a Thursday.
Plenty of parking.
Plenty of free parking.
Plenty of free parking. That's right.
So it'll be on Thursday, October 24th. Starts at 11:30.
All right.
We'll start on time. We always start promptly, and it will be over by 1. And so, we just welcome everybody to come. They can get more information on our website about how to get tickets and reserve tables. And we're still looking for sponsors if anybody's interested.
You heard that. We're looking for sponsors.
Yes, because we want to have a packed house.
Yeah, we have a packed house. Okay, and then you have a workforce readiness event coming up, right?
Yes, so our workforce development team is always out and about, again, listening to what people need, what people want. And so they've done financial literacy classes, they've done mental health classes, they've done classes on resume writing, how to show up for an interview. And so they have a class that's scheduled on October 17th at MDHA. So again, you can go on our website and get more information about that. It is free.
All right.
They just people need to pre-register, and it's open to anyone. They don't even have to necessarily have already been into the office.
Then we have a program coming up that has truly changed a lot of lives, which is the expungement clinics.
Yes.
Can you talk about that just a
So
little?
our next expungement clinic, it will be October 29th. It will be at the office at Urban League 50 Vantage Way, Suite 201. And a lot of people, if you've never been touched by that, may not even know what an expungement clinic is, but it is just that. It expunges people's records. We've had all kinds of individuals that have come to us with maybe 1 or 2 charges that have held them back. And they've been told in the past, well, there's nothing we can do about this.
But there is something that can be done.
And we have judges, we have lawyers that will volunteer their time on that day to help people get their records cleared so that they can get that job they've been wanting, so that they can get their voting rights restored. And it makes a difference in someone's life.
Yes, it does. So if you've ever been to court, for any reason, there's a court record of you going to court, right?
Yes. Even with a traffic ticket.
That
yes,
means that there's a record which can be expunged.
Yes.
Even traffic tickets.
Yes.
So if our listening audience is out there, we want them to come and get expungement.
And again, they just need to go on our website and pre-register because we need to make sure that their records are brought so that they know what to
absolutely,
do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, wow, can you believe that we're out of time? Right?
That's it.
It's time to wrap up this edition of the Urban League Live, and we're glad that you joined us, and we invite you again next time. Until then, please join us in helping us defend democracy, demand diversity, and defeat poverty. I'm Clifton Harris. See you next time.